Much like the real world's age of exploration, there are a lot of questions yet to be answered in the One Piece universe. Theories abound in the Straw Hats world, such as what's going on with Aokiji, what's the story behind Monkey D. Dragon, or why does Bonnie only apply lipstick to the middle of her lips? Is she trying to save money on cosmetics? Is it because she models herself after Queen Amidala? In all seriousness, there are still so many questions left to be answered and revealed by Oda-sensei. But today's video is about a theory that might just be juicier than a freshly sliced devil fruit, and it's about one of the most mysterious characters that we've seen so far, or more appropriately, one we've yet to actually see. So stick with us until the end of this video as we tell you all about the One Piece characters simply known as Imu-Sama and what answers they might be hiding behind the shadows of the world government. Now let's set sail into today's topic. Who in the world is Imu-Sama? Imu-Sama, or simply Imu if you're feeling like a pirate, is, without the need for sugarcoating and flowery words, the supreme leader of the world as far as One Piece's universe is concerned. Now, take note, we're not just talking about the world government here, we're talking about the entire world of One Piece. Remember those crotchety old billionaire boys called the Gorosei, aka the Elders? Yeah, those bratty billionaire boys might act all high and mighty, but they all bend the knee to Imu. In fact, Imu-Sama is so mysterious that their existence is pretty much a secret to everyone else in the world other than the Elders. Well, them and other characters like Sabo or Nefertari Cobra, who more or less stumbled upon the knowledge of their existence along the way, and it came with hefty consequences. And notice how he keeps saying they to refer to Imu. No, we're not playing the pronoun game here, guys. We really don't have any idea what Imu-Sama's sex is. In fact, the only information we have as of One Piece's 1113th chapter is sparse at best. Aside from what we've already mentioned, we know that Imu is the figure sitting on the empty throne, which is basically One Piece's version of the Iron Throne, except, it probably won't give you tetanus. The thing is, Imu doesn't whine or rant something along the lines of, "Somebody kill the Straw Hats." Instead, the supreme leader of the world would rather stare at a photo of someone like Princess Shirahoshi and stab it, like an absolute creep. Oh, and they're the kind of sovereign who has no problem wiping out entire islands and races just to make sure their existence remains a secret, such as that time when they leveled Lelouja because they thought that Sabo was there. And of course, Imu's a boss. They didn't even have to lift a finger to get that done. They had everyone else under their heel, like the Elders for that. Just as an aside, Sabo is a legend and you'll never catch him alive. Apart from that, well, we know that Imu can transform into a giant, shadowy, grotesque creature with stabby tentacles. Whether this transformation is similar to the Elders is still a question up for debate. We also don't have any idea how good Imu's combat prowess is, but we are aware that they at least own a saber, as we've seen when they went on a tantrum and slashed Luffy's wanted poster to pieces. But aside from that, we've yet to read or see any more concrete information about this enigmatic figure, except maybe, just maybe, they're wearing a whole daikon radish on their head? Hey, Imu pretty much owns the world. They can wear whatever they want. And that's the thing, guys. What makes Imu-Sama such a target for theories is the fact that we know so little about this insidious character. That said, what sort of speculations about this figure are circulating right now? Imu's old. Like, really old. Now, let's get this out of the way. This particular theory is proof that Imu is so mysterious that even characters within the world of One Piece can't help but wear their own tinfoil hats to speculate about who the supreme leader truly is. This one specifically comes from Emporio Ivankov. In this theory, Eva believes that Imu-Sama is actually Nerona Imu, aka Saint Imu, one of the first 20 who established the world government some 800 years prior to the events of One Piece. In fact, the Revolutionary Army co-founder even thinks that the same Nerona Imu had somehow found a way to achieve eternal youth, or at the least eternal life, to remain in power even after almost a millennium. And it's not like Ivankov's just a lingerie-wearing weirdo too. The man's an absolute authority in the Revolutionary Army, so he might just be scratching the surface of a very, very dangerous secret here. This theory even goes as far as stating that Imu's immortality might be attributed to the Opi-Opi no Mi, which ultimately allows its user to grant eternal life to anyone of their choosing. Trafalgar Law is this fruit's current user, but by no means is he the first. It's just as likely that a previous Opi-Opi no Mi user in the past used their devil fruit abilities on Imu, which granted the supreme leader their centuries-long life. Imu is the anti-Nika. Now, there's a theory circulating around that Imu might very well be a devil fruit user, specifically one who possesses the power of a devil fruit makes them the living embodiment of chaos. In a nutshell, this turns the shadowy figure into this sort of god of despair and darkness type of character, which is the diametrical opposite of what Luffy stands for. Remember, Luffy at this point is pretty much the reincarnation of the sun god Nika, who's basically the deity of light and joy. So, having a foil to One Piece's main protagonist like Imu being a chaos god wouldn't be much of a leap. In fact, this theory goes as far as to say that Imu's purported devil fruit is similar to Luffy's own Hirohito no Mi, except evil. Then again, this theory does not provide much of a leap, and we honestly think that Oda-sensei going this round would be a bit boring, since he'll end up just following the same old tired shonen tropes we've seen numerous times before, like how All Might has All for One, or how Batman has the Joker. Still, it's out there, and anything can happen in the world of One Piece. Imu is not hiding. This theory about Imu-Sama is rather interesting, given that it gives us a break from the usual questions about their true identity and instead focuses on something a bit more simple, their physical appearance. So far, we've only seen Imu always obscured by shadows, with only that radish-like headpiece of theirs and those creepy serial killer peepers the only details we can suss out. But this whole theory surmises what if Imu isn't actually hiding in the shadows? What if that's actually what they look like? A figure entirely covered in darkness. Like the previous theory, fans speculate that Imu is a devil fruit user in this one as well. But instead of eating the devil fruit of chaos, the supreme leader of the world gobbled up the devil fruit of nothingness, which manifests itself by turning Imu into a sort of walking sentient shadow. We mean, it's on brand for an evil son of a scallywag to be the embodiment of darkness after all. And honestly, this is way less disturbing, not to mention less problematic, than finding out that Imu is actually wearing an all-white robe and pointy hood ensemble come the big reveal. Can you imagine? That would be so depraved on so many levels. Imu is a sentient fashion accessory. We've mentioned how weird Imu's quote-unquote crown is, but there's a theory that's been put out that the supreme leader of the world isn't really the person, or at the very least creature, sitting on the empty throne, but it's actually that radish-looking crown. Hear us out, it's an idea that's so out of left field that Oda-sensei might actually be crazy enough to go this direction. In this theory, it states that the crown is sentient to some degree, and it's controlling the figure who's wearing it. In this case, Imu-Sama is just like the One Ring, or a roided-out fascist version of Hogwarts' sorting hat. Now, we're a bit torn if this were to come to pass. On one hand, it's a fun idea. On the other hand, though, revealing Imu to be just a mindless patsy controlled by an awkward-looking fashion accessory rather cheapens the whole gravity of Imu's threat. Imu's motives. Regarding Imu's reasons for being an absolute jerk to everyone, there's an interesting idea that fans have presented, which states that the supreme leader of the world is actually just a kid. More importantly, Imu's an immortal, or at least a long-lived kid who's been alive for almost a millennium. And as for being the way they are, meaning an evil mass-murdering bully, well, the theory states it could be that at one point in time, Imu was betrothed to Nefertari Lily, but she ended up marrying Joy Boy instead. Also, this theory proposes that Joy Boy comes from the clan of D. Given all this, it pretty much explains a lot about Imu, despite the imaginative reach it makes with the original Joy Boy's lineage. For one, it explains why Imu hates the Nefertari family and the D symbol. For another, this idea is in line with the in-world theory of Ivankov that Imu might be someone who has acquired eternal youth. In any case, this turns Imu virtually into a kid having an 800-year-long tantrum after getting friend-zoned by Nefertari Lily. Imu represents the Earth. Here's an interesting theory that ultimately doesn't really answer anything on the surface, but it might actually have a lot of bearing on the final saga. Imu represents planet Earth. Basically, this one states that a lot of the major players and objects in One Piece's story are named after planets and stars in the Milky Way galaxy, such as how the Elders are named along the lines of Marcus Mars or J. Garcia Saturn, or how the ancient weapons are named after Uranus, Pluto, and Poseidon, otherwise known as Neptune. It doesn't apply to the villains and legendary artifacts either. Even Luffy isn't safe from this theory, since he's basically Nika reincarnated, who represents the sun. Well, the long and short of it is that there's no character representing the Earth itself yet, and who better to fill this role than Imu? And given that Imu represents Earth, they also represent nature itself. Now, this theory might seem like a fun Easter egg at first glance, but after the developments in One Piece chapter 1113, we can add the idea to this theory that Imu might be ultimately responsible for the world's eventual, inevitable, biblical-type flood that Vegapunk revealed in his pre-recorded message. And to make the tinfoil hats on our heads sizzle so much that it gives us a perm, here's an idea all our own, which stretches this theory further. According to Vegapunk, everything will be swallowed by the sea. Imu spelled backwards is Umi. Umi is the Japanese word for the sea or ocean. Holy hell, Imu will swallow the world! Now that you've heard these wild theories about Imu-Sama, we'd love to know your own speculations and theories about the character. So, let us know about them in the comments section below. And as always, be the first to catch our videos by subscribing to our channel and turning on all notifications. We'll see you next time.